There's a secret to dog training that only a few elite trainers know about, and it's the missing piece that could take your dog's training to the next level. The Canine Cooperative is an exclusive community of dog owners that know the secret, and they are using it to achieve greatness with their dogs. The cooperative has videos on dog psychology, leash handling, stranger danger, and solutions for common issues. Use promo code PODCAST to save 50% on your first month. For less than $10, you can start training your dog today. Try it out. You have nothing to lose and your sanity to gain. Enjoy the show.
Time again for Talking Dogs with Ian Grant, owner of Vermont Dog Boarding and Behavior, VFW Drive Hyde Park. It's the show that delves into the training, socializing, behavior, nutrition, and wellness of your dog. And brought to you by Guy's Farm and Yard, with locations in Morrisville, Montpelier, Williston, and St. Albans. And we're back with the trainer Ian Grant, and this week, hugging your dog. Now, come on, really. What can be bad? There can't be anything bad about hugging your dog, can't you? I mean, that show affection? I mean, what's up with that?
I think we just have to be more aware of our dog space. Just like, we talked about the show where it was invitation versus invasion, how a dog invades our space.
Yes.
Now, we all know our own dogs better than anybody else, so I think we have to be careful with just the timing of it here, too, because if you just walk up to your dog and give him a hug, like my little friend, she's not a huge fan of hugs.
No?
Unless she's super relaxed, snuggling with you, and then you can do it.
Yeah, Tika's not a big hug receiver either.
Yeah, some dogs are more cat-like than they are. They are
more than you know with Tika.
Yeah. So the other part of this, too, that I see is when people first adopt a dog, and I see pictures of the adoptions where everybody's huddled around the dog, and that new dog doesn't know these new people very well. And everybody is showering that dog with affection.
So the dog doesn't know how to react to it?
Yeah, that's a lot of invasion of space. And that's usually where I see the big wide eyes of like, what is happening right now? And that's what I mean by we have to be aware of the timing of it. And obviously, I would highly suggest against walking up to a dog you don't know and giving it a hug.
Well, yes, I can see that for sure.
Yeah, now we're asking for problems. But this is very common in the kid world, too, because kids want to walk up to the cute dogs and pet them and say hi and give them hugs. And I think we have to be just really, really careful with it.
Well, many kids and many adults, too, are, I think, for the most part, better now than they used to be, and asking for permission from the owner before they even approach the dog, which I think is a good thing.
Yeah, I've heard that probably more in the last year about parents teaching their kids, make sure you ask first, and it's okay if the person says no. And it's nice to see things like that moving forward, because I think we do have to advocate for the dogs because nobody else will, and we don't want them to be doing it with their teeth and their mouth and trying to create space that way and making them make a bad decision too. And so when we look at this and we think space, think personal space, that's what we have to be most aware of is when is it okay for us to get into into the personal space of our dogs? Because we also see them when they're at the vets, and some dogs aren't comfortable at the vet's office. And that's because they have to get into personal space.
Right. And then, of course, when you bring your dog to the vet, you have this tendency to hug them saying everything's going to be okay, which may not be the owners are probably thinking, this is good, I'm consoling the dog, but maybe that's not how the dog is receiving it.
My interpretation of the it's okay thing is this. You are telling your dog it's okay to act like this, right here, right now. This state of mind. That's
the only time the dog is really aware of is the present time.
Yeah. There are associations for dogs. They certainly know routines, and going outside when they hear the food hit the bowl, they know what's coming. But the it's okay thing, I'd much rather you take a breath, put your hand on the dog with the influence of saying in your head it's okay, but the influence of your touch on the dog going, I got your back. We're good. It'll be all right.
Right.
Just stick through this.
So when is the proper time to hug your dog? I mean, you just feel like, I just love my dog. I just want to give him a big hug. I mean, is there an appropriate time to do that? You have to pick your times. I mean, I didn't realize hugging a dog was, was so scientific.
I think we just have to work our dog into it, meaning I don't think you're just going to come right into the house, drop all your stuff, and run right over and give your dog a hug. I don't know if they are going to be ready for that. We also have to read their body language, that if we're moving towards them to give them a hug, and if they take a couple of steps backwards, we have to respect that, meaning they're not quite ready for it. So maybe, you can drop your stuff when you get home, walk over, start some soft petting, get them to be a little bit more relaxed, and then work them into it for a hug. But remember, they don't hug each other either. So
No, they don't.
It's actually something very foreign to them. They will snuggle with each other and lean up against each other, but you don't see paws and legs wrapping around each other on a regular basis.
Tika's not really, doesn't like receiving affection. She's not an affectionate type receiver. I mean, hugging, or just when you come in, you pet her and she says, yeah, well, whatever.
Yeah.
And I guess there are dogs that are like that.
Fitz is very affectionate. I mean, if one of my kids lies down on the floor, he is right over there, lies down, leans up against them.
Yeah.
He loves it.
But there are other dogs that just, they acknowledge you, okay, you're in the house, okay, when's food?
Yes, yes, and those are the ones that we have to be very aware of.
Yeah, exactly. Back with our question from the doggy bag in just a moment here on Talking Dogs.
Roaming is a Los Angeles-based premium lifestyle brand that is motivated by nature. Roaming features high-quality, earth-friendly dog products made from renewable and natural materials like their bio-based and 100% compostable biodegradable dog poop bags. These bags really are awesome. I've been using their bags for a few months now, and I love the durability, the way they feel, and the fact that they are good for the earth. They also have a special discount for our listeners. Use code VermontDog to get 20% off your first purchase, including 20% off the first 3 orders if you sign up for one of their poop bag subscriptions. They also have some beautiful leather leashes made right here in the USA. You can check them out at roaming.com. That's ROMNG.com.
Back to Talking Dogs with Ian Grant from Vermont Dog Boarding and Behavior, VFW Drive Hyde Park. Visit his website, which is vermontdogboardingandbehavior.com. Question this morning, Ian, is my dog goes crazy when I get the vacuum cleaner out of the closet. Is there anything I can do to help him? Because the dog, when they sees the vacuum cleaner, they're anticipating the noise. So is there a way to get to the chores at hand and not putting your dog into a frenzy?
Yeah, I've seen some dogs attack some vacuum cleaners.
Attack the vacuum cleaner?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, really go after it. Or the flip side is
they run away.
They run away.
Yeah.
They don't want anything to do with it.
Yeah.
We have to break this down step by step. A lot of times what I see is as soon as you reach for that closet door, that dog is already concerned. And you see the concern on their face. We have to break this down into a bunch of incremental steps in front of our dog. You can even have your dog on leash to prevent the flight mechanism if it does, or even the attacking mechanism, but we're hopefully not going to go down that road. But you reach for the doorknob. If they're a little concerned, just wait it out until you see them disengage with looking at the door, look around a little bit, maybe take a deep breath, eyes soften, and then I open the door. And then they'll look concerned again. And then we wait for that pattern to reemerge of, okay, I'm going to relax again, take a deep breath, turn away, something. So we're waiting for the dog to relax before we go each step further to getting the vacuum out. Once we get that vacuum out, then I may tether the dog away from the vacuum so I can create a lot of space so they don't have to worry about being so close to that thing. And then, when it comes time to flipping the button on and off, the power button, that's where we have to be super careful and take our time, because sometimes that's the big trigger that says I have to attack that thing. And so what I've done in the past is I just turn it on for a second and turn it right off. So the motor thing doesn't even get a chance to get up to full speed. But if you think about this in terms of incremental steps, that will help you in the long run. But you can always get professional help. But I just don't want to use food during this process because I don't want to reward the state of mind that says I'm going to attack the vacuum cleaner.
Yeah. Well, don't you take your dog to another room eventually? Like when you're vacuuming the room, you're not going to keep the dog in the room with you, are you?
Eventually, you can work up to that, but that's
Right.
after a lot of repetitions and a
huh?
lot of time. So, yeah, if you want to, or even just put the dog outside if you're fenced in or something,
Yeah.
and just get the job done. So
Yeah.
there are ways around it.
Yeah. Now, what happens if the dog runs off when you do the handle for the closet? Would the dog just does the opposite, runs the opposite direction? Do they do that too?
I would probably tether the dog away from me far enough that they can see me at the door, and just make it so if as soon as they get concerned, same process. Wait for them to calm down, then open the door. But yeah, once you kick in that flight mechanism, it's a lot of work to keep them there.
And before you know it, you'll be training your dog to vacuum the room. No, I don't think it's going to go quite that
Please
far.
send your check payable too.
Yeah, here we go. Hey, we got a new cleaner in the house. If you have a question for Ian, you can email him directly to info@vermontdogboardingandbehavior.com. Next week, dogs are always moving forward.
This is something that's come to me a lot lately. They're always moving forward except for one time that I've noticed, and that's what I'll share. next week.
Next week. Oh, the suspense is killing me. On Talking Dogs with Ian Grant, brought to you by Guy's Farm and Yard with locations in Morrisville, Montpelier, Williston, and St. Albans. And for the trainer Ian Grant, I'm Roland LaJoy, and we are Talking Dogs.